The Vikings have many holes to fill on this defense, but one of the big ones is the big boys in the middle on the defense. Let's get into our top 5 in the 2023 draft. Moving on through our 2023 NFL draft preview, we move on to defensive interior. After Dalvin Tomlinson signed with the Browns, that leaves a big hole in the middle of that defensive interior. Even with Dalvin Tomlinson, I still felt like we needed more help. I like Harrison Phillips. Obviously, you got Bullard, you got Blacklock there. You have Kyrie's Tonga at nose tackle. As of right now, he's probably the only nose tackle on the team.
Yeah.
Like all those guys are solid, but we're just missing that one like real impact defensive interior, whether it's nose, 3-tech, 5-tech, what have you. I feel like we're missing that. And looking through some of these draft prospects this year, I think we have a great chance of finding that guy to take that spot. There's so many good ones. It was hard putting together a list of top 5 because at the ones we looked at, I liked them all. I saw things I liked with all of them, but I think we came up with pretty concise top 5s, but a lot of talent in this draft when it comes to defensive interior.
Yeah, dude. Like you said, what we really need is someone on the defensive interior to be able to rush the passer. That's something that we missed badly last season, and Dalvin Tomlinson was actually the best one at doing that, and we don't even have him anymore. Obviously, the Vikings must really feel good in Tonga, which is, we did see a lot in last year, so it'd be interesting to see what's going on with that. I don't know if they expect to go into the season with him as that nose tackle, but in this draft, I do think it's going to be one that we would, especially if we spend a first round pick, we're going to probably get more of that kind of like what would be the 3 technique defensive tackle, that more pass rushing type defensive tackle. So Tonga could be a good player to have in that spot, whatever. But just like you said, this is a great draft to look for those positions for a guy that can rush the passer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, man. And then before we get into that, though, I want to thank everybody for watching GG Sports podcast of Minnesota Vikings. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, get notifications for our videos. We give away Justin Jefferson rookie cards on all our live streams. So definitely do that and join us there. Have a good time and win some cards. Yeah, let's jump into this. So our number 5, Casey's is Keanu Bennett,
the Badger, and then Jamie's number 5 is Mozzie Smith. A little preface here: I have Mozzie Smith at 4, and Jamie has Keanu Benton at 4, which we'll see on the next slide. So we'll just take our time talk about these two guys now. I really did like what I saw on Keanu Benton. I know Dave of Minnesota Sports Talk is really high on this guy. The first thing you know is the size: 6'4", 309. Like that is a good size. He is your prototypical nose, like a nose tackle type who can get after the passer. I mean, the first thing you noticed was his size, and man, the guy can power through blocks, double teams. He did it constantly in the tape of him that I watched. He's got pretty solid quickness for a guy of his size. Saw him blow up a lot of plays. For me, it was really tough between Mozzie Smith and Keanu Benton, which one to put at number 5 and number 4. But the fact that Benton is a stupid Badger, I had to drop him just a little bit down to 5. But it would be great if the Vikings took a shot on Benton. It'd be great. We took him in our mock draft we did yesterday. But the nice thing is he would fill that gap along the defensive line. He could do everything, get after the passer, and be great in the run game. Sheds blocks well to make tackles in the run game. He's very patient, and he would be back in the same state as the Axe again. So that'd be good for him as well.
Yeah, dude. Obviously I have Keanu Benton as my number 4. And what I really like about him is just of the pass rusher he already is. I know with Mozzie Smith, most people is going to have Mozzie Smith higher than Keanu Bennett at this point, just because Mozzie Smith is this big, strong defensive tackle who has a lot of athleticism. He was somebody that he only ended up doing the bench press at the combine, or I don't even know if it was at the combine or it's pro day. That's the only one that he did. So for me, I just, if he would have done more of if he would have ran his 40, people talk about his athleticism and we didn't get to see that. And I want to see like this guy who's 6'3", 323 pounds. And I want to see if if he would have been able to clear less than a 5 on the 40-yard dash, I think I would definitely put him above Keanu Bennett. But without that, I think there's a question mark there for me to see if he really is that guy. But like I already said with Keanu Bennett, I do really like his pass rush ability. I really like his energy. He is also somebody that like just when he gets a sack or anything, like he just gets up and he gets pumped. And I love that kind of energy for your team, especially after you make a big play. Um, though, like I said, he kills it on the rushing the passer. And do you have his combine stuff available? Oh, that was another low key thing about Keanu Bennett that I also really like. I'm going to get into some of his stats and stuff from the past year. Was he was like one of the only players that did everything at the combine, which take this, you know, for what does it say? Take this with a grain of salt. I feel like this is a good example of showing someone with a good work ethic if they're willing to come into the combine and show everything, especially someone like Benton, where he has a place in this draft. Like he's probably going to be a top 3 round pick for sure. But a 508 in the 40-yard dash, 179 in the 10-yard split, 30 vertical jump, 9 foot 3 inches broad jump, 7.34 cone drill, 4.65, 20 bench press, 25. It's nothing too crazy, but he also weighs 309 pounds. And I think he also is 6'3". What does it say up there?
He's 6'4", 309. So
6'4",
he's a big
309
dude.
pounds. And if you ask me, those are some pretty damn solid combine performance for a guy that size. So I really do like that as well. Let me get into some more.
By the way,
Yeah,
just going with Mozzie Smith here, since we can just kind of jump to our next slide and we get there too. That I have him at 4. Jamie, you have Benton at 5 or Benton at 4. But 34 bench press reps for Mozzie Smith. That's the only thing he did because I think they said he had a hamstring injury he was nursing, so he didn't get to run. But still,
I think was the most anybody did this year. I think it was most. So he's obviously really strong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the most. And I mean, he has the strength. I wish he would have ran his 40, just his 40. I want to see that sub 5 out of a guy who's 323 pounds. He's bigger than Benton. If you would have been able to beat him in the 40, I would have been pretty impressed with that. But looking at these grades, 73, and also I do want to bring up, I am a little biased towards these rankings because I do think, like I already said, that the Vikings really need a pass rusher at defensive interior. So this is guy 73.6 overall PFF grade, with 6 sacks, 11 hits, 11 hurries, a batted ball, an 83.5 pass rush grade, and a 13.3% win rate on the pass rush, which both of those are fantastic. So I really do like that. He's someone that's going to come in and already be, from a technical standpoint, can go in there and get some sacks and get some pressure right off the bat. Which is something that you hope to see out of Mozzie and hope he grows and who really could. Like, there's no question. Mozzie could end up being one of the top guys in this draft based off of his athleticism and his size and everything. So
yeah, and that's one of the things I did like a lot when I watched Mozzie Smith play. Is I thought he had good quickness for his size and obviously the power. 323 pounds, of course, you're gonna have power. I thought he don't think he did it as much as Benton, but I saw it in his tape. He can get after the passer, but he's a stud in the run game as well. Has explosive. I saw a lot of explosive plays. High motor player. Just kind of saw him all over the field. I was pretty impressed with what I saw there. And then, just like I said, just the sheer size is why I had to bump up number 4, and the fact Wolverines, a little bit better than the Badgers, but the Badgers are the Badgers. You can't put one of them at number 4.
Yeah, I prefer.
But yeah, I really thought he was a high impact player. Loved what I saw. I think, and that's Siaki Ika almost made my top 5, but I feel like Mozzie Smith, while a little bit smaller than Ika, because Ika is just huge. He's dominant in the run game. He can affect the passer, where I think Mozzie Smith actually has more of an ability to get after the passer.
He definitely does.
He did make my top 5, where Siaki Ika didn't, but yeah, there's a lot I liked about Mozzie Smith watching tape. Do you have a PFF on him?
Yeah, let me bring the PFF on him. I kind of already explained my whole thing on him, but yeah, so 79.9,
not a lot of sacks, but
which is better than overall PFF grade than Benton. But yeah, 14 games played, 1 sacked, 5 hits, 19 hurries, which is pretty good. Pass rush grade 68.5 in a pass rush win rate, 11.4%. So yeah, obviously he's not as good as a pass rusher right now. He's definitely a guy that's coming in here with a lot of upside. So that's what you're getting with Mozzie Smith. It's not just like he can become a really good pass rush, especially with how strong he is and with his athleticism, which I was hoping to see at the combine or something like that. But
Mhm.
so that's what it's based off of. I think Mozzie Smith is really moving up the boards. A lot of it is based on potential, and that not that he's already good against the run, 81.3 run defense, and he's a big body. So if he can learn how to rush the passer, I mean, this guy has a chance to be a dominant player, I think.
Yeah.
So I do get it. I do get it.
Yeah. And then the NFL draft profile compared him to Dontari Poe from NFL.com. So if he could end up
Okay.
being like a Dontari Poe type player,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty fantastic there. Moving on to our number threes. Now, number 3 and number 2 for both of us are going to be, again, kind of the same, just interchanged here.
Yeah.
I did have I had Kalijah Cansey at number 3, where Jamie had Brian Breezy. So watching Cansey, like, all it took was like 2 plays that on the tape that I watched to see that this guy was an absolute animal. And he's not that big. I think they had him listed. What do they have him listed here?
6'1",
281. So
281.
kind of a smaller defensive player. And going to Pitt, obviously, I'm sure he knows Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald went to Pitt as well. They're both okay. It's gonna sound, people are probably gonna blast me for saying this, but they remind me of each other a little bit, to the fact where they're both a little bit undersized. I think I know Donald was kind of down in that 280 range. He's around 6 foot, 6'1". Obviously, I think Aaron Donald is like 10 times more of just like a physical specimen than Kalijah Cansey is. But you watching Cansey, he's small, but he plays big. Like, it's the motor, the toughness, the tenacity. It's just everything you saw on tape is what you want out of a impact defensive interior player. And man, just every athletic, sheds blocks easily. And when he doesn't, he just keeps the tenacity on, keeps his eye on the ball, and he's able to shed blocks and make the tackle when he needs to. I absolutely love what I saw from him. I gave Breezy the leg up because Breezy's a little bit bigger, but they both were so neck and neck for me in this spot. It was hard to choose. NFL, and by the way, NFL draft profile comparison for Kalijah Cansey was John Randall. So
hey, let's go.
And they, again, same thing, undersized, high tenacity, and I think he's gonna do things in the league, man. If the Vikings land this kid, if Vikings land any of these 5, I would be absolutely ecstatic.
Yeah, and like you said, just like Aaron Donald, like, obviously that's a huge comparison, but I think it is somewhat fair, obviously, the Pittsburgh thing, but I also want to bring this up as well because I like Cansey a lot. Obviously, he's my number 2. Man, this guy's just a beast. He's the best pass rusher in this class. Obviously, the NFL is a whole different ball game, and you need to be bigger. Let me bring up so I'll go through some of these PFF grades, but even right off PFF, it says the Aaron Donald comps will only pick up steam after Cansey broke Donald's record in the 40-yard dash with the 4.67. He may be undersized, 6'1", 281 with sub 31-inch arms, but my lord, he is difficult to block, and it shows big time on his in his film. And not just that, but look at this. I mean, 80.4 in 2020, 84.6 in 2021, 91.8 in 2022 with a 92.4 pass rush grade and a 22.7 pass rush win rate and still 80.9 run defense. This guy, like, it's insane. 8 sacks, 9 hits, 30 hurries in 11 games. These stats don't lie. And I mean, his size could possibly be an issue in the NFL. It could be, but still, at the very least, I don't see how this guy doesn't affect the opposing passing game, regardless of if that size really does matter. And we see other players, like we said, you just talked about John Randall, come in, and as long as you have that energy, John Randall is all energy. That's kind of what you need. If you're going to be a smaller guy, you got to be acting like you're a big boy in there. And I think Cansey has that similar thing. And if he's there at 23, man, at this point, it fills the biggest hole on our team. I think you should definitely get him. I think if he's there, he's probably the best player available for our team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unless we traded back for,
right.
Booker, that whole
for
thing.
Sure.
But,
yeah. But I again, I love what I saw from him.
And with Brian Breezy, so obviously he what is it?
Brezzy.
Bro. Oh yeah, that's right. Brian Breezy. Obviously, this guy's also a physical freak. He is, what was his height on
He's
him?
6'5", 298.
6'5", 298. He didn't quite beat that 300 thing, but 6'5", 398, 298. Let
Yep,
me see
298.
his
Yeah.
thing. Let me find. All right, 298, and he had 6'5" and a half, 298, 32-inch arms, 10 and a half, 10 and 1/4 hands, and 40-yard dash, 4.86. Bench 22 pound or 22 reps, 29-inch vert, and a 10-yard, or his 10-yard was 1.71. The 4.86 4-year dash for someone his size is pretty insane, and it's the reason why I think for sure he's the number 3 guy on this list. I didn't think his stats and stuff was as impressive as Cansey's to me. Let me bring those up. Boom. So he had a 73.5 last year with 3 sacks, 4 hits, 17 hurries, 2 batted balls, 82 pass rush grade, and 14.5% pass rush win rate, which is still fantastic, which is actually really good. As Cansey's is insane. So really solid, but he's that guy, like when you watch him on tape, there's no question. He has that energy. He's blowing up the line of scrimmage. He's making plays, big plays. And I think that is the reason why you see him so high up on so many people's board. Not just that, I believe he was really highly touted coming out of high school and stuff too, or even going into the season on top of all that. But he's just someone that has a lot of athleticism for his size. And the film shows it. The film shows he can get to the passer. His run defense is pretty weak on here, but he's going to be another guy that has upside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and I loved him. Like I said, like looking at those stats, and I did kind of, I tried to weigh those in here. But it's just, I had to give him a leg up due to the size. I just feel like with that size might be a little more consistent in the run game. Cause yes, we do need a guy that can get after the passer, and he showed he can do it. Maybe not as effectively as Kalijah Cansey. But I almost feel like the teams use them in different ways. With Cansey, he's not going to be that run gap, like the run gap feed, like defender. He's going to more just get after the quarterback, Where I think Brian Breezy would fit this team because he can do a little bit of everything. I think he can be developed into more of that pass rusher, which, he has the skills to do that.
Yeah,
But I just saw him all over the place in the run game as well as the pass game, just giving the offensive line absolute fits. I thought he was, pretty athletic for his size. He blew up some blocks. Like there was so much I liked about him. High motor. I think this is the type of guy the Vikings do need just for a more all around player. Again, I would love to see Cansey on the team as well, just because of that pass rushing prowess. But I just think Breezy is so good all around that. I mean, I think he'd be a solid addition to this team as well. I know a couple of the mock drafts we've done him. I think they both have been there near the end of the first round.
Yeah.
So again, would love either of these guys. I just, with the size,
my money is Cansey's gone in before the 15th pick.
Right. So I do think a lot of people, and they very well should. I've said it for months that this team needed an impact defensive interior player.
Mm-hmm.
And if Kalijah Cansey can use everything he has to his ability in the pro game, he's going to be set. But that's the thing. It's like, will it translate? Where Bruzzi, I feel like he's got, with the size and everything, I feel like his will translate a little bit easier.
Yeah, but it'll probably translate, and just like Mozzie, not just translate, but it seems like he has untapped potential a lot like Mozzie.
Absolutely. So, but again, either of these guys being on the team, I would love it.
Yeah. So our number one, I think anybody's watching this probably already knew who it is. We're not going to play games here. No, Jalen Carter's obviously the number one guy in this draft.
When you talk about Jalen Carter, you do got to bring up the incident on March that was found out about on March 1st with the arrest for reckless driving and racing that resulted. The whole incident itself resulted in the death of a player as well as one of the staff members. He's starting to get that figured out. Entered no contest, so he's got, I think they said 12 months probation, $1,000 fine, 80 hours community service, and has to take a couple driving classes. Obviously, and as he showed with the combine, he didn't do the workouts he interviewed. And his pro day, he came in a little bit overweight. Couldn't finish the drills, cramping. So obviously, there's a lot on his mind. But and with everything that's happened, but I think now that things are kind of quelling a little bit, he's not going to take as big of a fall as people were thinking.
No,
And
there's no
if this
way.
guy, and he will, he's a young kid. He'll figure it out. When he gets back to being what he was in college, watch out. This guy, you wanted everything that we talked about with all these other players down the list. This guy does them and does them better than all of them.
Yeah, like we didn't get to see much from him in the combine, if anything, any workouts or anything like that. So you don't really get to see. That's what sucks. Like I get why a player like him, why would he do that? It's only gonna hurt his stock. But man, you want to see how athletic and how much of a freak this guy really is. It's always disappointing when you see someone pass something like that up. That's like if Anthony Richardson was already supposed to be like a top 5 quarterback and he didn't do any of the drills. And then we would have never known how much of a freak that guy is. But that's the same thing with Jalen Carter. We didn't get to see that, but from just a stats profile, 92.3 PFF grade in 12 games, 3 sacks, nothing too crazy on the sacks. But he can do it.
He did miss some games with injury as well, so that doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at those, look at those grades though. The pass and run defense grade. Like, look at that.
5 hits. Yeah, we'll go over there in a second. 5 hits, 24 hurries, 3 batted balls. And I believe he had 2 or 3 forced fumbles. And that's the thing with him. It's not just like, all right, even just 3 sacks. It's like one of the sacks was like a safety. It's just the impact he makes. Like he's a big playmaker. That's something that I would take that skill over anything, is the guys that can do it at the right time and create a massive play. The guys like JJ Watt, like those dudes, they're gonna get they're gonna get the strip sack and things like that, like the big plays. And that's a guy, he has that knack of it in a big way. And not just that, I mean, obviously, like you were already saying, his pass rush grade at 89.1, which is obviously phenomenal. I think Cansey's was just a little bit more than that, but it's still super phenomenal. 16.3 pass rush win rate. Obviously, it doesn't show as in the sacks as much, but that's what like people hate on PFF a lot. But this is a good thing about PFF, is they can put in a number how well he did in the pass rush without having to be sacks, which I think is a big deal. In my opinion. And then a 91.2 run defense grade. This guy's just an overall beast. And whoever ends up getting him is going to be really lucky. For some reason, I still have a feeling the Lions are just going to be that team that ends up with him. But
could you imagine Houston, Hutchinson, and Jalen Carter all on a defensive line with what they've added in the back, in like defensive backfield, and linebacker? Oh boy,
them or Will Anderson. I can't wait to start doing linebackers too and check out Will Anderson.
That'll be fun. That'll be for sure. But man, this defensive interior class is stacked, and that's a good thing because the Vikings need help there. Again, we talked with these top 5. There's still more. We both like Siaki Ika. We both really like Moro Ojomo. So there's a lot of talent in this class. The Vikings need to get in on this for sure. This is the one position that I really want them to get in on. If they, it's necessary. And these guys have so much talent that it would help a Brian Flores defense immensely.
Yeah. And I want to bring up, I'm not going to butcher his name. I sent him to you earlier. The defensive tackle out of, where's he out of?
Yeah.
I don't know. It starts with an A. Anybody who's watching this and knows what I'm talking about, he ran the 4.49 40 at like 6. I think he was 6'3", 280, something around Cansey's size, and ran a 4.49. He's a guy, he'll probably go higher than he probably should, but if he's someone that is Northwestern, he's from Northwestern. If we took a flyer on him sometime in the draft, that would be worth the risk, I think. As long as it's later in the draft. So he's someone else that we should be keeping an eye on, I think.
Absolutely. But that'll do it for our top 5 defensive interior players. We want to know your guys' top 5. Let us know down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikes.